Hey everyone, this is Jorge with Hypothyroidism Success Story, and in this video I want to talk about different things that I guess I wish I would have known about getting diagnosed with hypothyroidism. These are things that I've had to I found out about them kind of like the hard way. I had to research a lot, and all of it was because I had to wanted to figure out what was wrong with me. So to tell you about it, I'm going to go back about 5 years when it all started for me. And so for me, things just started to kind of pile up on each other a little bit at a time to where it felt like I was aging. So like I started to feel fatigue, and then I started gaining weight. My skin started getting dry. My hair started falling off. Like I remember my eyebrows were thinning. My eyes were pretty dark, and I had like heavy eye bags. I was having a hard time, recovering. Like if I ever did any kind of exercise. And I had like depression, anxiety, joint pain, like all these things that I thought for a second I thought that I was just aging, but because they started to get so bad, especially like when my hair started falling off, like a lot. Like I still remember like I was lathering up my hair, and then I just felt this texture, and I looked down and I had hair all over my hands. And I was like, this can't be right. Like I may be aging, but there's something wrong with me. Like I'm just not functioning, right. And so I started looking into it, and see, well, like one of the biggest problems is that I didn't exactly look sick. I just didn't feel right. And so other people would look at me and was like, well, you don't look sick, kind of thing. So it was kind of frustrating for me to say like, no, but there's just something wrong with me. Like I can't explain it. And so with my research, like one of the first things that kind of stuck with me, and I learned this from Dr. Jerry Tennant. He said something that stuck with me, which was, if you have a low body temperature, then you are hypothyroid until proven otherwise. And now the reason why that stuck with me was because for the most part, the way that I see a lot of doctors diagnose for hypothyroidism is based on TSH levels alone. And so the reason why I'm making this video is because this is going to help you understand a lot of the things that I do, and also help you maybe pinpoint what you're going through, and maybe figure out where you need to focus on. And also it's going to help me, in the future, talk a little bit more about the foods that I eat, the diets, and all that kind of stuff. And so I want to give you a quick overview of, what I've learned about the thyroid system. The way that it works is, you have a thyroid gland, and there's a process that happens, before the thyroid gland starts functioning. So you have like your hypothalamus telling your pituitary gland to tell your thyroid gland to produce hormones. And so your thyroid produces T4 hormone, which is the inactive form. Your body can't really do much with T4 until it converts it to T3, which is the active form of thyroid hormone. And so that's a process that happens in the liver. So once your thyroid gland produces the thyroid hormone T4, that goes to your liver. Then your liver converts that T4 into T3, and then from there it goes into the bloodstream basically and gets delivered to all the cells of your body. And so that's more or less in a nutshell how the thyroid system works. And so notice that it's not just the thyroid that's doing the work. There's the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus. So basically stuff that happens before the thyroid produces the thyroid hormone, and then after the thyroid gland produces the hormone, the liver still has to make it active, and then it still needs to be distributed to the body. And so the cells still need to be able to uptake that hormone. And so throughout all these, throughout this whole process, there are different ways that that whole process can be disrupted to where it's kind of like Christmas lights. Like I don't know if you ever had like one Christmas light go out and then the entire line goes out only because one little light bulb goes off. I guess that's kind of like the older Christmas lights. I don't know if that happens with the newer ones, but that used to be the case with older ones. Well, that's kind of like the same thing here. It's like if one of those parts is broken in the system, it's almost like everything's broken. And so different root causes and things that I started to find out, because as I was exploring, these were things that I started to realize that they could also be the reason why I was experiencing, fatigue, gaining weight out of control, just basically being depressed and anxious all the time. Well, what I started to find out was that, first of all, you need to have the right diet, the right foods. In order for your body to produce hormones, you need fat soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K. And so if you don't have healthy fats in your diet, like if you're not eating, coconut oil, maybe some dairy products like butter, raw milk, maybe hemp seeds also have like really good oils, avocados, maybe some other animal fat sources basically, or if you're more of a plant-based, there's still certain foods that you have to eat to get healthy fats, and that's because those foods have the vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins that your body needs to produce the hormones. So it could be a diet issue. Now, it could also be that you may have a liver issue, and for me it was both. I didn't have the right fats, and also my liver wasn't working properly, which meant that my thyroid gland may have been producing enough hormones, but my liver wasn't converting T4 into T3. And this was a big one because it was one of the first times that I understood why there were people who they get diagnosed with hypothyroidism, they start taking T4 hormone only, and they still feel like crap. And the reason is because their problem isn't a sluggish thyroid, which is basically the definition and what everyone believes is what's wrong with them. Everyone believes that it's the thyroid that's not working. And what I'm trying to point out here is that yes, it could be that your thyroid may not be working, but it could also be that your diet is not right. It could also be that your liver is not working, and it could also be that your gut may be also affected. And the gut is a big one because let's say that you do have the right healthy fats, and you're say you eat an avocado, well, the avocado goes down, but if you don't have the right gut flora, your gut flora is what digests. Basically what that means is that it's what it breaks down food for you, and in the process that's where vitamins are created, that's where the nutrients are extracted and absorbed into the body. Well, if you don't have that gut flora, you could be eating the right foods, but you may not be getting the nutrients out of them because you don't have the right gut flora. It could also be that you have the bad kind of gut flora. You may have overgrowth of like yeast, mold, fungus, or parasites, different creatures that may be stealing the nutrients from you and creating toxins that are also contributing to making you fatigued and also make you gain weight. That's where that plays a role. It could also be that like in order for the liver to convert T4 into T3, the thyroid hormone T4 into T3, it needs certain nutrients, one of which is protein. And so if you're eating protein and the body isn't able to break that down into amino acids and deliver it to the liver so that it can use it to make that conversion, that could be a reason why your liver isn't working. And so I want to point all that out because this is what I found is the biggest reason why there's so much conflicting information online. And it's because people have different root causes and everyone believes that there's only one. And that's why you hear people sometimes talk about how, hey, I remove grains from my diet, remove gluten, and so now their digestive issues are taken care of, and all of a sudden they feel better and that works for them. But meanwhile, you have the other person over here who their problem is that maybe they haven't been eating the right fats. Maybe their body isn't digesting fats properly, and that's why their body's not producing the hormones. And that's why this person, they can cut out grains all they want, but they're still not feeling better because what they need is more fats in their diet, and vice versa. That's why some of these people, they say like, hey, all I did to feel better was I started adding more healthy fats into my diet and I got better. And you have these people that have digestive issues, try that and then it doesn't work for them. Well, that's because those are the different root causes. Then you may have other people who, like I said, it may just be their liver that isn't working properly. It could also be that you have people that are eating the wrong kinds of foods, the wrong kind of fats, like polyunsaturated fatty acids, also known as PUFAs, and other ones that may be inhibiting or keeping the cells of your body from absorbing the thyroid hormone once it's already made. And so there's all these different reasons and I guess root causes. And so what I wish I would have known earlier on, and one thing that I think will also help you is that if your doctor's only going by TSH levels, what I recommend you ask them for, a couple other labs would be to check for vitamin D levels, because your vitamin D levels are basically going to tell you whether or not your body has the nutrients to produce hormones like thyroid hormones. And then the other test or panel would be basically check for thyroid antibodies. So there's a couple of these tests. One is TPO and the other one is thyroid globulin antibodies test. And so these tests are basically going to tell you if you have any sort of autoimmune, which, from talking to a lot of people, I've had, thousands of people that have subscribed to my email newsletter, and about 9 out of 10 people that I talk to usually tend to have some sort of autoimmune problem, which is why, to date, what has worked the best for most people, because again, there's different root causes, what has worked the most for, most people is basically fasting, taking on probiotics, and as far as diet, either following more of a ketogenic or autoimmune paleo type of diet. Those have been the ones that I have found have worked the best. And so also for this video, I want to share something one of my friends that I'm talking to, Lisa, she's been following me. Not to be confused with the other Lisa who did the 15-day detox. She's also cool. Shout out to you as well. If you haven't seen her 15-day detox journey, you should definitely check it out. I'll have a link below this video. She tried juice fasting and did some detoxing. I should refer to Lisa number 1, Lisa number 2. No, I don't want to number you guys. But anyway, so Lisa, you know who you are. You asked me about some of this products. So activated coconut charcoal. So this is one of the ones that I use to detox. I use maybe about a teaspoon to a tablespoon. I honestly usually don't measure these out, but I just put this in drinking water and I just drink it. There's a lot of uses for coconut charcoal, but basically what you need to know is that activated coconut charcoal, is a high pH, so it's an alkaline based cleaner for me. That's the way that I think about it. Something that I teach in Bring Beer is alkaline based cleaners are used to clean out organic material, whereas inorganic material like heavy metals and stuff like that usually tend to use more acidic based solutions. So like in the body, I would use things like sodium bicarbonate or activated coconut charcoal to draw out toxins and clean out like all the organic waste. Whereas if I use like raw apple cider vinegar, more of an acidic solution that I would use for inorganic stuff. But anyways, just simple, just drink it. This works best when you're in a fasted state, so I usually do this in the morning. But you can do it at night as well. I believe this is what they use when you get alcohol poisoning and they take you to the emergency room. They give you coconut charcoal to basically soak up all the toxins and basically all the alcohol out of you. But when you're clean and when you're sober and you're in a fasted state, it draws out a lot of other toxins from the body. And so just drink it in. Also know that because it's going to draw out a lot of toxins, you may have to ease into it. So try out a teaspoon, see how you feel. If you feel good, try 2 teaspoons, tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, but I usually keep it to about a teaspoon to about a tablespoon, and then just drink it. You can also use it for cleaning your teeth and stuff like that, which I'll probably leave that for another video, since that's a little bit more advanced. It's going to require a little bit more time, but so anyways, I want to share that with you guys, and hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more. And so that when you're diagnosed, really what it's going to do is really help you find a better doctor to work with, someone who understands what you're going through and what your root cause is. So if I think that if they're not open to testing you for vitamin D, like in my case, I had low vitamin D. My vitamin D was in the low, I want to say like 22, when it's supposed to be closer to like 50. So that was a big one for me. And then autoimmune problems. Again, I had a lot of digestive issues, a lot of autoimmune, my whole body broke out in hives. About 70% of my body was just like itching, and it was pretty bad. But anyway, so I fixed that with fasting and probiotics. So anyways, I hope this really helps you out. So for those of you that are, getting diagnosed, these are things that you should definitely ask for, and it'll definitely help you pinpoint, which direction you're going to be going. So hope to see you guys in the next video.